Good evening and welcome back to DXB Today, where tonight we are working on your soft skills, which is very, very important. And that's why with us now, we have the founder of Evolution-U, one of Asia's leading training companies, specializing in communication, leadership, and negotiation. Neil Orvay, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we talk about soft skills as something that's nice to have. It's good to have soft skills. It's a nice thing. But you actually believe it's essential to have. Can you tell us a little bit about what soft skills are and why you think they're so essential?
Well, it's not only me that thinks it's essential. John D. Rockefeller, often considered one of the wealthiest men to have ever lived, he said that the ability to get on with people is as tradable a commodity as coffee and sugar. And he went on to say, and that is more, I would pay more for that than any other. So it stuns me that in today's world, these are not taught at a university level, at a minimum. And especially nowadays with Gen Z, the world's first digitally native generation, who grow up looking at screens, soft skills are more important than ever because they are the gap between merit and success. Many people merit success but don't achieve it because they don't have the interpersonal skills to move to the next level.
I'd say some people believe that you can't teach it. Obviously you have a different view on that. Do you think it's something that you can learn to be more personable?
I wouldn't have a job if it couldn't be taught. So 100% it can be taught.
Neil, I like that your quote was all about trading and commodity because you were an investment banker, or you were in investment banking, right? Very high pressure industry, and you got to have grit, you got to be smart. But at what point in your life did you realize, no, it's not just about being smart, it's not about playing the game, it's about communicating and connecting with people? What made you realize that?
I'll be honest, I didn't. This happened by pure chance, and many of the best business opportunities do happen by pure chance. So when I left banking, I got involved in a software startup in the telecom space. It was nothing to do with this, but along that line, I also invested, believe it or not, in a chain of spas, which I still own to this day in Hong Kong.
Wow. And
what I found was that I had a huge challenge speaking with my therapist because I was used to speaking in a dealing room with investors, with bankers, and it was very, as you say, a very fast-paced, quite an assertive, some would say an aggressive mode of communication. Yes. Now try go speaking to spa therapists. You know, this wasn't a communication gap, it was a communication chasm. And my therapists were intimidated by me. They were scared of me, and that was not my intent because I think I'm quite a nice guy. So I needed to train myself in communication so I could communicate with everybody, not only people like me. And this is one of the biggest challenges that people have. They're very good at communicating with people like them, but the minute you need to communicate with somebody different, you need to be a bit of a chameleon. You need to know how to restructure communication. So I started studying neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, back in 2008. I really got into it. I did it just for myself. I spent 2 years traveling around the world, studying with some of the best. And then friends started asking me, what have you been doing? Can you teach us? And then the word got out, and because of my background, banks started approaching me. This was all when I was living in Hong Kong. I lived in Hong Kong for 20 years before I relocated to Dubai during COVID. And the rest is history, so to say, but it was by accident.
Well, you just mentioned that you lived for 20 years in Hong Kong. How do we really best communicate with the Asian cultures? What are your tips and your insights?
So there's quite a big difference, I found, between working and living as an expat in Asia and the 4.5 years that I've been here in Dubai. And one of the things is the importance of relationships. Middle Eastern culture is the most relationship-centric culture I've ever experienced. And I'm a Westerner, European that's lived 25 years in Asia, now living in the Middle East. So I've got a reasonable experience across cultures. And everybody says relationship is important, but I find that in the Middle East, it's another level. And it takes a lot longer to get into a client, to build that relationship. But the good thing is, once you're in, you're in. And because Dubai is so transient, it's probably the place to be in the world right now. There's a lot of people coming and going. So it's only natural that not only locals, but everybody's going to wait and think, okay, is this person still going to be around here in 2 years? Why would I invest in this person right now? They want to wait a little bit of time. Once you've been here and people start to recognize your face and know that you're staying, that's, I think, when things start to open up.
Now, Neil, you're also a negotiation coach, right?
Yes.
And culturally, and I think as a woman, but also culturally, I really struggle with negotiating. Do you have any advice?
I have advice.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gender specific though,
Right.
because I think the psychology underlying negotiation and the techniques we use work irrespective of gender, culture, or language. So the first thing, and this is a very generic piece of advice, is preparation, preparation, preparation.
Okay.
Yes. So there's a statement from, or a quote from Benjamin Franklin: by failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. So there's a very high correlation between well-prepared negotiators and those that succeed. The other thing which I think is a big error that people make is they negotiate from their own position, not from their counterpart's position.
Okay.
So you're negotiating from what is a good deal for you, but if you don't understand, is that a brilliant deal for the other side, you've just given away a huge amount of value. Now you might walk away thinking, I did well, but actually you gave away 80% of the value. So it's incumbent upon us as negotiators to really try and understand what does the other side want to achieve, and what can I get out of this? Negotiate not only from your position, but understand their position. Easier said than done, of course, but it's something that we should strive to achieve. And for most people in their area of expertise, they have a lot of information that can, if they use it, can allow them to assess the other side's position probably better than they're doing right now.
And a lot of people think negotiation is only for the boardroom or like big deals. How important is it for the everyday person?
Well, anybody watching this show that's got children know that negotiation starts as soon as they are talking, and in their mind probably beforehand. So negotiation is a fact of life.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's not just, of course, for the boardroom or for business, it's in your personal life, it's in your social life. So I think it's an essential skill.
I can see Louis nodding her head.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
A lot of it ties into emotional intelligence, which I know you've spoken about a lot. And a lot of people love to say, oh yeah, I've got good emotional intelligence, but most people don't actually test for it. Is it something you can test for? And how does it look in a day-to-day life?
Well, firstly, you can absolutely test for it. There's a number of independent EI tests out there. And if you look at all of them, the foundation stone of all emotional intelligence tests is empathy. So empathy, if you're looking for one word that links to emotional intelligence, that would be the word. And you know, how do we show we have empathy? Well, it's multifaceted. It's our tone of voice, it's our body language, it's do we ask questions, do we listen carefully, do we let the other side know that we have heard them? And when it comes to communicating with empathy, psychologists call it pace and current experience, well, you've got to try and make sure the other side know that they've been heard.
Right.
Because only if the other side know they've been heard are they going to start to listen to you. And this is especially important, so I use the acronym VET, when somebody feels vulnerable, emotional, or threatened. If you've got somebody feeling any of those three, vulnerable, emotional, or threatened, then it's very important you let them speak first, you nod, you give positive affirmations, you communicate back that you have heard them. It doesn't mean you agree with them, but just let them know they've been heard. And then you can start to put your story on the table. But if you try to put your story on the table first, there's no emotional intelligence in that, because what will happen is they feel more VET, they feel more vulnerable, they feel more emotional, they feel more threatened.
You mentioned empathy with such passion. Would you say that is the one soft skill that you think people really need to learn? Or if not, what is that one soft skill that you think would change people's lives and make things better for them?
Empathy is a good one, but I'd take it down to a more basic level. I'd say controlling your tone of voice. Now that might surprise you, but think about this. If you control your tone of voice, it's genuinely difficult to lose your temper. You try to get angry and be angry with somebody with a controlled tone of voice. It's practically impossible. So if you can start to get emotional control, and you know, I've got Latin blood, I'm Italian, Spanish by blood, so emotional control is not an easy thing, but if you can control your tonality, it's incredibly powerful. And also, in a world where we have more virtual than ever before, your ability to use your tonality expressively and use what, once again, psychologists call it emphatic contrast. So you emphasize specific words, you punch them out there. Your ability to use tonality effectively is critical if you want to be a good communicator.
I gotta ask you something about that, because in our private lives we communicate with emphatic stresses, but then in business conversations everything is monotone. So how do you get authenticity out of people when they communicate?
Well, it shouldn't be monotone, that's what I would say.
Absolutely. It shouldn't be. So authenticity is that key. What is your take on it? Because it builds trust and it's needed in our business, isn't it?
Of course it's needed. So be yourself, don't be a robot. Yes, I think I'm starting to sound like Monty Python here. It's just about doing the basics right, and most people don't. You know, communication, maybe finishing where we started, It is essential because we all have to communicate. 99% of people do not have communication training, so they're naturally going to be making more errors than they should be. But there's times in our life when we get things right and times when we get things wrong. The ability is to be able to step back and analyze, why did I get that right, why did I get that wrong? Repeat the good things, avoid the bad things. So when it comes to, for example, tone of voice, being authentic, it's just about practice.
I agree. It's about practice. By the way, I'll tell you a little story. We actually measure the charisma score of a voice with a professor in Denmark, and it's fascinating because you see where people sit in government organizations or where people sit in industries, they communicate very close to each other. So therefore, if you're able to control your tone of voice, everything can change for you.
It is so important, and it's so much wisdom coming from both of you, and we wish we had more time, but before we let you go, we do have a little something for you.
Oh yes, actually something for you. Dua, do we have a DXB in 60?
Yes, we do. Actually, Flo, we're going to be running you through your paces. Or actually, answer as many questions as possible in 60 seconds. But you can't get them wrong. It's all about you. Okay?
Pressure.
Okay. Can we get 60 seconds on the clock in 3, 2, 1? Best advice you would give to an introvert when it comes to starting a conversation?
You can do it. It is very tough, but you just got to do it step by step. Small incremental changes.
Well done. If you could have an AI assistant, what task would you want it to handle?
Preparation. Preparation is key.
Love that. If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh, it would be definitely the person on the street that I would usually not talk to because each one teach one.
Oh, wow. Best way to unwind after a long day?
Oh, just relax, meditate, because it's all in ourselves.
Agreed. Your go-to restaurant in Dubai?
Ah, Massimo's Italian restaurant.
Oh,
Fantastic
never
pasta.
been. We'll definitely go. And a book, movie, or series you recommend?
It would be definitely a book around public speaking, and I'll go for the TEDx, the TED book from TEDx.
Okay, we're out of time, but last question, why Dubai?
Dubai is the first place where I felt at home. I went to the Seychelles and everybody looked like me, but when I arrived in Dubai, everybody has a different story, and that's why I fit in. So therefore, for me, Dubai is a place that I fell in love with.
Flo, it has been amazing having you as our guest co-host. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much for your answers. And Neil, thank you for being here. Thank you for all the work that you're doing with Evolution-U, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Yep, hope to see you both.